Hey, is anyone ever going to talk about the fact how Barney the dinosaur is a T-Rex, where the other dinosaur people he hangs out with are herbivores, thinking he would likely kill them? Hello everybody, it's your favorite West Virginia in space here, and there are some cartoons that are really popular and everyone has seen, and then there are some that are kind of more forgotten. This is definitely one of the more forgotten ones. This one is Dino Squad in this particular case. Now, I bet you're thinking, what is Dino Squad? Because you very likely don't remember it. It's not, I can't say I necessarily blame you. Once again, it doesn't seem to have much of a presence online, despite all the episodes being up on YouTube. It was a show that ran from, if I remember correctly, 2007 to 2008, and was basically the premise of this, basically 15 teenagers, or young adults technically, I think, but 15 high school, college, something like that, you know what I mean? Basically get mutated by ooze from an evil bad guy, we'll explain him later, and can return to dinosaurs back and forth, and the whole premise is they try to stop this evil velociraptor, who's, I'll get to him in a second, you know what I mean? His whole plan is to turn the world back into dinosaurs, and, of course, with the help of another velociraptor, who used to know that person, long story there. But, and basically we kind of go on from there. It was a relatively simple show, and though I still have some fond memories of it, even I have to kind of admit it just wasn't always the best show out there. Like, quality-wise, it was very iffy. Sometimes it was pretty decent, other times it was kind of bad. It really had an environmentalist message, but it didn't really not push it, but like say it very well. So often either came off as kind of tacked on and or preachy in weird moments that just don't make a whole lot of sense. But ultimately, it was just kind of their show. Although, honestly, the more I think about it, and even thinking about questions I had as a child about how the logic of this universe works, like, the main premise is that two velociraptors survived the extinction of the dinosaurs by hiding in a cave for 65 million years. Like, even if we're assuming you somehow mutate your DNA to turn into a human, which they never properly explained to my understanding, they, so what did they live on in there? They were trapped in that cave. They weren't sleeping as far as we can tell either. They were seemingly awake the entire time. And why does the good Velociraptor lady, whose name, who pretty much all the names elude me, why does she look like she aged over that time, but Victor Velocity hasn't? I mean, like, what's the logic? Is it just the skies? Is it just like, how? And honestly, I have to ask some questions about her teaching of why the dinosaurs died. Something about compassion, like, no, I'm pretty sure the non-avian dinosaurs died because a big rock killed them. What are you suggesting? They should have hugged it or something? Like, I never quite understood that. And even then, it's like, there were some other bits in logic, like, ultimately, it was just kind of their show. But that's not what I really want to talk about today. The actual meat and potatoes of this video is, fundamentally, why has this show been forgotten? Like, as far as I can tell, it's just not remembered in any real capacity. Like, sure, there's a little bit of fan art online, but, like, it's very, very minor. It's like, it doesn't exist really. Like, if you type in Dino Squad, you're very likely to find things that don't relate to it. Or you'll see promo images of the show or that kind of thing showing instances that I can only imagine were some kind of concept art for things that just didn't exist in the actual show. And it's very bizarre. Like, I can't figure out why it was exactly forgotten, or at least I couldn't at first. I got about thinking about it. My first point or theory on it is simply that the show was just kind of mild. It wasn't terribly good, so there wasn't, like, much really good to remember about it. I mean, the theme song was pretty catchy, but a lot of shows are catchy theme songs. But it wasn't really bad either. It was just kind of there, objectively. It was just, when you aren't good or aren't bad enough to be remembered, you kind of just get forgotten. Like this show kind of has. And there isn't, as far as I can tell, any attempts for like a dark Riverdale style reboot, although I would pay good money to see someone to be the poor writers who have to say, okay, we have to turn this objectively silly and goofy show about a ridiculously silly premise. We have to somehow turn into a dark teen drama. It's like, why do you hate us so? But and another thing that makes me think it might have been forgotten is that since it aired on Cookie Jar, which isn't one of the big platforms at all, to my understanding, as in, I think, in the tier of what cartoons networks, not just that one, have people watch as a kid, I'm pretty sure that was pretty low on the list, like, extremely low, since now I think about it, I think most shows that aired on that block weren't terribly remembered, even the ones that had major IPs behind them. Like, how many of you people remember the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which at least on DVD aired with that? Like, How many people remember that cartoon? And that cartoon was actually good, but that's a different point entirely. Or Sonic Underground. How many people here remember that? How many? Okay, some people remember Sonic Underground, but both of the shows are in many ways forgotten themselves, despite having major IPs attached to them. So ultimately, I think just not a lot. Like, for example, I see quite a few videos every couple of weeks of people talking about a PBS show they watched, and I want to probably do that at some point too. But fundamentally, it's like that people watch that channel when they were like my age, or in my age range, or whatever, my generation, I mean. But I don't think that many people watch Cookie Jar, really. Or at the very least, no one remembers enough of it to care. That, or I'm really ahead of the curve, and I'm about to, like if I'm responsible for, like, some kind of, like, Dino Squad resurgence, then, you know, you can blame me or whatever, because I'm apparently the guy who did that now. I'm doing this now. I'm causing the reboot to exist. I am going to inadvertently break the YouTube algorithm and cause the dark, gritty hell Dino Squad reboot. And before everyone knows, the guy who unleashed the nightmare upon the internet. But ultimately, that's just a silly thought of mine. Ultimately, it wasn't the best show, but hey, it was just there. I don't regret it existing or anything. But ultimately, I want to turn the mic over to you guys. Do you guys remember Dino Squad? Did you watch it as a kid? Did you not? Or are you going to watch it now that I've mentioned it? You can if you can't. It's all on YouTube, like I said. But ultimately, that's all I have to say for this video. Sorry for the long delay in videos and the shortness of this one. But ultimately, I've just been busy and had difficulties with audio equipment. But ultimately, I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you all next time. Yeah? Hey, why don't you hit that sub button? You're going to become a subscribble. Get to see my content quicker. Wouldn't that be nice? I bet so.